welcome to my channel. Today we're doing a video full of Made by Mitchell products. I'm going to play with some blushes, some new Blursh pressed, and then my Made by Mitchell eyeshadow palette. I thought I could give that a revisit as well. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun for today. It's going to be very colorful and very bright. I really like his products, so I thought I'd dedicate a video to them. So if you're new here, hi, my name is Cecile. I'm almost 30 years old. I live in the Netherlands and I upload videos mostly on makeup, sometimes on fashion, and I would love to share them with you. So if this sounds interesting to you, if you like Made by Mitchell products or colorful makeup in general, then subscribe and join my little YouTube family here. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. So I am going to do a full face, but I'll go a little bit quicker through the parts. Wait, let me adjust my lighting first. Better? But I'll go a little bit quicker through the parts that aren't Made by Mitchell. So let me just quickly put a little bit of brow gel in my brows. I just always use this one from Pink Honey with this, this little thing. So I heard that a little bit more glam makeup is coming back in 2023. And even though I really like natural makeup as well, and I still think it has a time and place for more casual settings, I do really like my bold makeup, so I'm glad. I feel like highlighter is making a giant comeback too. So I'll do my base makeup first. I already selected some of my products. We're going in for primer with the Clean ID Hyper Hydro Serum from Catrice. Still trying to figure this one out. It's interesting, it's a little bit goopy. I don't know if you can see that. It's not as thin as you would expect. And it's not as hydrating as my favorite oil lately has been. But it does grip a little bit. So I don't know if the marketing on this one was correct, but I do like it. Then for foundation, I'm going to mix two. I thought we could use the Born to Glow foundation by NYX. I think this is discontinued, but I bought it on sale at that time. So I do have it in a way too dark shade though. And then I have my Eavesdrop from Fenty, as you may remember. This one is a little bit more, or a little bit less dewy. This is more of a natural finish. And this one is kind of too light for me. So I mixed the two, and if I do correctly, I get a perfect shade. I think this mixture is going to be just a little bit too dark, but I'm just going to run with it. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I do have to mix equal parts. That's okay. I'll just bring it down really low. On camera it actually looks pretty good, but you can see on my hand it's definitely a little bit too dark. Okay, I hate this. I hate being this dark when I'm not actually that dark. So I'm just going to mix in some of the skin tint from Fenty. I think I look a little bit more like myself like this. This is actually a perfect shade. So for concealer, I have something fun. I happen to have a sample of the Dior Backstage concealer in this little pot. It's in the shade 1W. And I figured we could use it. So I'm just going to take a small concealer brush and take a little bit of the product. I'm just also putting this on my eyelids, sort of as an eyeshadow base. So now our base is done. I'm just going to clean up my lips a little bit, just so they aren't invisible during the next part of the video. And now I think it is time to go into some blushes. So I have ones for contour, I have ones for blush, actual blush, and for highlight. So I thought we could just try them all out. I mean, some of them I have tried on my channel before, but some of them are new for you. So let's start with one that's meant more for contour. This is the one in Hollow There. This is the lightest one of his, I think the name is Blurshed Bronze. It's like a subsection of the Blurshes. So I really like his packaging. And I like this formula as well. And for contour, this is just a really good shade for me. I'll do half of my face first. As you can see, they blend out really easily. And they are going to set down. The apricot blush that I use a lot, I feel like it sets down almost like a matte powder. So I guess I used it a little bit more in a bronzer kind of style right now, and I see I definitely went a little bit overboard. Let me get this one. Yeah, I sometimes forget how pigmented these kind of products are. So something a little bit more like this. I mean, this definitely looks a little bit more like a face shape. Let me quickly do the other side as well. So I think the trick is to use a little bit less. I think this is perfect. I used a little bit less. So it looks kind of similar now, but just to be sure, I'll go over with my brush on this side as well. Then I do actually have a couple of highlighting shades. I have this very deep one, which is of course way too dark for me, but I thought it could be a nice sort of bronzer topper because the Hollow There is actually more of a contour shade, even though I do feel like it can work as a bronzer on me as well. But I just want to add a little bit of this sort of bronzy one. I'll add it a little bit here. Just a little bit like that. I don't know if this is too much. Yeah, that's nice. I actually hadn't really tried this one as a bronzer yet. I use these on my eyes as well. But since his formula is a little bit more matte, I do like using these highlighters on top of them. Alright, we definitely look a little bit more bronzy. I'm just going to take a different foundation brush with a little bit of product left on it. I mean, I'm having a lot of fun with this. Now let's go into some cheeks blushes. So I kind of feel like using this more purpley one. The one that I use the most is this one in Can't Cope with Coral. But I do have this one in Prima Donna, which is a little bit more purple. I think that's going to be fun. I do have a pressed blush in this kind of color as well. So that should match up nicely. And the reason I have this really purple one is because on my skin, all pink blushes turn a little bit more coral. So I thought I could use a really purple one to see if it actually turns a little bit more cool pink. I'm just going to take a regular brush. And it does actually, as you can see, it's still a little bit purple, but it turns a little bit more pink on me. And I like this formula of his because, as you can see, it shears out nicely. I could definitely build this up a lot, but especially this more purple shade is a little bit less pigmented than the Can't Cope with Coral. So I really like these as bases. I really like using this purple one underneath my Shiseido powder blush, which is light pink. And this one makes it turn actually light pink instead of this corally shade. So I actually have some highlight as well. I have a pink one. I'm not sure if this one is going to be too dark for me as a highlight, but let's just go for it. This one is actually a new shade for me as well. I mean, it's beautiful. Just going to keep it there. I think my best luck with liquid highlighters is always to tap it out with my finger. And I'd heard that these liquid highlighters are a little bit too subtle, but they don't look too subtle to me. I think this is beautiful. It's a little bit deep for me as a highlight, but I don't really love very brightening highlights anymore anyway. I'll of course use a little bit of powder right there, so it'll look a little bit better then. But I honestly really like this. I also have the silver one, which I'll need to try out. But yeah, this is really nice. I'm also going to use a blush as an eye base before using the eyeshadow palette. So let's just do that right away. I kind of want to do a very simple eye look, but I want to use this one. This looks very similar to Prima Donna, which I just had, but this one is Love Lies. And this is actually a little bit more of a blue toned purple. By the way, these blushes are quite affordable. That's, well, at least they're not very expensive. So that's why I have quite a few of them. So I'm just going to take this one all over my eyelids. I've been really liking this lavender periwinkle kind of hybrid shade. And I do a lot of one and done eyeshadow looks with that color. So this blush is going to be the perfect base. It is a little bit more sheer, I think, than some of the other ones. Yeah, this one is definitely more cool toned than the other purple one. I'm not 100% convinced on this one. It's very sheer. I mean, it's pretty, but like I said, it's very sheer. So I think this is all I'm going to do with the blushes for now, at least the liquid ones. So let's use a little bit of powder. I'm going to use my L'Oréal Paris True Match Perfecting Powder Foundation. Just take a little bit of my Real Techniques brush. Going to do my best to avoid the part that I actually want to stay highlighted, but this looks a lot better than this, right? Just use a little bit underneath and on top of the eyes. A little bit right above my brows, around the nose. Just a little bit like that, and I think that's perfect. See, these blushes aren't too aggressively pigmented. I like them. And now I just want to show you the packaging of the pressed blush, because I know lots of people have talked about this, but this is what it comes in, and after this I'm going to throw away the box. But I honestly really like the packaging of the product itself, but this packaging is just quite unnecessary. But this is the box from the blush itself. And this one I think is really cute. So this is the color that I picked out, and I think it's going to complement this look very well. So I'm not going to accentuate my bronzer at all. I think that is plenty, and I also think my highlighter is plenty. But I do feel like I can use a little bit more color on my cheeks. So let's try this blush. I think the packaging is a lot of fun. Let me just give it a little swatch. So this is a matte blush, which I think is kind of nice. And as you can see on my skin tone, it becomes this beautiful, pale, cool toned pink. I like the fact that this has a mirror as well. Okay, I think these are fairly pigmented. I only tapped in a little bit. Oh, it looks a little bit more purple on me than I expected. I mean, I like it. I kind of like purple on my face. It's more pigmented than I expected, and it's a little bit more of a soft matte finish. So with all the glowy stuff that I had underneath with the primer and the foundation and the highlighter and everything, it got to it sort of kept its natural, more or even more dewy finish. So what do we think? I kind of like this. I like this purple cheek moment. So I'll quickly finish up my brows before we get to the eyes. This is just a micro-filling brow pen from Benefit in the shade Blonde. A little bit of brow makes everything look a lot more balanced already. So I'm not too happy with how this lavender shade worked on my eyes, but I do hope that it gave a nice base. I'll need to play with this one a little bit more. So now let's just go into his eyeshadow palette. Like I said, I'm not going to do anything super dramatic or intense. I really just wanted a little topper on top of the blush. But this is the eyeshadow palette that I have from Made by Mitchell. I've had it for a couple of years now. It's the Head in the Skies palette, and I honestly still really like it. I pretty much used all the color combinations that I wanted to use, so I put it to the side for a little bit, but it's time to bust it back out. So I think I'm just going to do something light with the whites and maybe the purples, maybe a little bit of blue. I'm going to take this teeny tiny flat shader brush, and I'm going into Clouded, which is the sparkly white shade. And I'm putting that in my inner corner. This was actually the first product that I ever tried from Made by Mitchell. I'm not even sure if he had released his blushes, blushes at this point. I think he did. But the pans are giant, and for a shade like this that I'm going to use a lot, that's very nice. As you may know, I did hit pan and almost finished up my Michaela inner corner shade. Now I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to choose a nice lit shade. And the shade I'm going to use is this one. It's a purple and it's called Soda Skies. I'm just going to put that all over the lid. It's a little bit more sheer, but it has a nice sparkle in it. I'm just going to go back with this brush and a little bit more of that white shade. And I want to overlap the white a little bit more. I like this a little bit more than the stark difference. And I'm also going to put a little bit of that white right here underneath the tear duct. Yeah, I think that's nice. Then to finish it up, I'm just cleaning up this brush on my hand and I'm going into something matte. I think this is going to be the shade. It's called Lucid. Just putting a little bit of a matte shade underneath the lower lash line. And I think that's going to be my finished eye look. I've been enjoying doing a little bit more lighter eye makeup lately. So I'm just taking this Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On eye pencil in the shade Vice, which is a metallic purple. So I'm going to tight line with this and also use it as a half liner. And I'm not going to do a wing. I kind of like to look like this. And I'm going to take my Essence Waterproof Lash Princess mascara, just the black one. So I'm not going to use any false eyelashes today, so this is the finished eye look. I guess all that we need now is a lipstick. I'm not sure if these blushes are also meant for the lips. I imagine they're very dry on the lips because they are more of a matte formula. So I'm just going to take a regular lipstick or something like that. So for lip liner, I'm going to take my Barbie X Glam Light. I'm not sure what colorway this is, but it's the pink one. And then for lipstick, I'm going to take this Simply Nude 725 from Max Factor. I rediscovered this lately, or recently I mean, when I was reorganizing my full makeup collection. And this one just looks really good with this lip liner. And then I'm going to top it off with a little bit of this Blursh. I think that would be fun. I'm just putting a little bit on the back of my hand. I'm going to dab a little bit of this on top as sort of a lip gloss. Yeah, that's nice. I do really like this Candy Skies highlighting blush. That's really nice. That's actually my favorite thing from all the Made by Mitchell things that I own right now. But I do really like this full look. It's very glowy and I really like it. So I wouldn't usually use only his products to create a full face of makeup. I think they're perfect products to mix in with some other stuff. I guess the base that you choose is also very important, because I chose some very glowy foundations and primers today, and that definitely changed the vibe of the blushes for today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I really like this look. I liked filming this, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.